A little disclosure before you listen today. This episode does contain a conversation with a mother who did lose a child. So I want you to know stepping into this episode. Welcome to the Unconditionally Loved podcast. I'm your host, Jeanne Street, where we are having conversations in heaven. We are connecting beyond the veil to reach the highest and pure that God has for us. I hope that you take a moment to lean in and really connect yourself with the message that's going to come through in this show. It's really delicious in a lot of ways and painful in others. All right, here we go. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my guest, Lauryn. I know you're going to love her immediately, just like I do. Thank you again for coming on the podcast with me. I'm so happy to have you here, Lauryn.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. I knew when I first met you, when I first got to read you, like it was like that's how I met you and read you at the same time at a really beautiful event that I was invited to share my gifts. That there was a spark of like specialness in you. And I think that spark can be somewhat scary to actually bring to light, to like hold, because it requires attention, it requires love, it requires effort on your part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like just nodding my head over here. Like, yeah, I think that, our spark is not separate from our hardship and the journey and the road that we have walked, sometimes slowly and patiently. So even hearing you say that, I'm like, yeah, it hits home for me. Like, thank you. I fully receive that.
And you've already had such a huge journey already. And I think so many women can kind of lean into the experience of, having some trauma of our own, getting into a relationship and married, and then all of a sudden family, and then wow, it's not what we thought it was going to be. Something comes and swoops our breath away. And I know you have a really I want to say, how do I want to word this? Your story, your journey is big. It's inspiring and it's painful. But it's all filled with love too.
Yeah,
So I'll let you
absolutely.
lead in.
Sure. So let's see, where should we start? Let me just ask my guides. So let me explain a little bit about myself, and then I'll go into how it sort of folds into the story. I am a serial entrepreneur, and I mentor fellow women in business to help them grow their own impactful business. And I'm a retreat leader and a grief advocate. And so for me, I've been in this entrepreneurial world for about 13 years, but the shift in my focus, my purpose, my passion, my biggest work, it shifted just about 4 years ago, when I was actually sort of in the middle of it all, juggling all the balls in the air, had all these companies going and feeling like I really had it all put together. And I was pregnant with my third child. And I woke up one day at just about 32 weeks pregnant, and my hand hit my belly, and I just knew something wasn't right. And I do want to say, for anyone listening who has moved through loss, especially the loss of a child, this might be really hard to listen to, and it's absolutely okay to pause and to just come back when you're ready. But it was at that time that my entire life shifted. I later that day gave birth to my stillborn son. His name is Ben. And it really shook me. It really changed, the spark that you mentioned at the beginning of this episode. I mean, it was absolutely gone. And I had to move through some of the really hardest, darkest days of my life. everything I had created up until this point just fell apart. The things that I could hand off to business partners, I did, but I just didn't really have myself set up in a place or space to be able to hold, my purpose and also um, hold this grief. And so I allowed myself to sort of walk through that for about 6 months, and slowly but surely started to put the pieces, back together. But Ben has completely changed the trajectory of my life, the ways that I show up, the ways that I lead, the ways that I live, the ways that all of us here in our family live. And from that experience, I've really learned how to, really create a more intentional life, intentional business, sustainable business. It's really important to me to help women do this now, because I know that it's not necessarily a question of if something ever happens, it's when. And it doesn't have to be a big T trauma like mine.
Right.
It can just be a season that you're in, or things happen. People need our attention and our hearts and hands. And so I really started to shift, my life and my work in the world in that way. Started leading retreats for women all around the world to help them move through some of their own healing, and created a deck, much like your gorgeous deck, for women who are moving through loss and just trying to find light again.
Well,
And
I need one of those decks for sure. I gotta have one of those decks.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's
I
really
want,
Ben's,
okay.
I just have to say, it's really
Yeah.
Ben's work in the world. Like, he created
Yeah.
that deck 100%. I'm just the shepherd of it. So
I really love that you touched on, because even how we started this session was a teeny bit messy, because you had an old link and my assistant's not around today, and so I
yeah.
had to go back and get that link for you. And when you're a business owner and you are in charge of everything, when something in life happens, and you're correct, like, our lives are not going to be smooth sailing. There's going to be these ebbs and flows of experiences and lessons and real life happenings that are going to take us away from what we think is important. And if you aren't set up in a way where you can pause and give yourself that time that you needed to work with your grief, to experience it, to come to a place where you felt stable to show up in your business again, it's funny, like, what falls to the wayside.
Yeah.
And you just can't even imagine. You think this is so important.
Truly. Yeah. And I think it's important to say too, when you say falls to the wayside, it's like, well, either your business falls to your wayside or your own healing falls to the wayside,
Thank you for
right?
that. Yeah, because you can totally get immersed back in, like, I gotta, I have to, and then you miss the opportunity to heal what you need to heal.
Yes. So
And
many women that I speak to, they're like, you know what? I couldn't heal. I had to sort of shove it away, put it in a drawer, like continue on with life, especially after child loss. I mean, I feel really honored now to hold a lot of space for women who are moving through loss, and some don't have this privilege, right? I had 6 months to heal, thanks to a former version of myself who did create businesses in the first place. But at the same time, some of these women, they're leaving their children at the hospital and just going to work the next week. And I could just cry just saying that, because it breaks my heart that there's not a better option, that we don't have better systems in place, or if you are an entrepreneur, that we just haven't done the work to set ourselves up in a way that really protects ourselves, our hearts, our families, in these types of situations. So that has been really important to me to, be so clear about that with my clients. Like, hey, even if you don't have partners in place, like, let's have a backup plan. Let's have an emergency contact. Like, we have to think about these things, and your future self will thank you.
Yes, for sure. I was listening to this podcast. I don't know, you know Kathy Heller, but she had this doctor on. Gladys is her first name. It's all I can remember. I don't remember her last name. But she is 102, just wrote another book. Literally just the most incredible soul that's still vibrant and adding to society. But she talks about women and our birthing in our bodies in a way that we do know. We have the innate sense when we're sovereign, when we're true and inward, we know what our body needs in order to heal. And it's when society tells us something different, it's when we listen to the conditioning and the old tones that box us into, oh, it needs to look this way.
Yeah.
And so what does it look like for us to lean into our healing in a way that is in our body, that we are sovereign and we get to say?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great question and point. So I call myself a somatic business coach because we do so much that is connected to the body. And here's the truth. Until I moved through this experience, I was completely disconnected to my body. Like things showed up for me in ways where I witnessed like, wow, I've actually been this way for a very long time. Like even as you said, as a woman in society at this specific time in history, you know, even as a child, I was in my room sort of not loving myself, which is just a disconnection to my body. And
well, sort of is a big one, but like not loving myself was really where it was at.
Yeah.
Like not even sort of.
Listen to me being kind to my
I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive. She sort of loves herself.
No, you're right. I'm glad. Thank you for pointing that out, right? Like we all have this. We all move through life, especially as young women, hating ourselves at times.
Yes.
And the thing about that is it becomes a part of our living to the point where when we're moving through life, we don't even notice it anymore.
Right. It's subtle, it's quiet, it's behind the scenes. It's that little walk across the mirror and just disgust, or it's you not wanting to go out or be near someone else, maybe because you didn't wash your hair. It's so damaging to our process of being human.
Yeah. And I think that in my experience, it created this very fast-paced sort of gripping and striving and pushing and pulling and just moving through life so inconsistently with my own natural rhythm, with my own human design, with my own sacred feminine. I wasn't connected to any of those things. And when I moved through this loss, the truth is, yes, I lost a child, but I also lost myself. And I lost that knowing that even though it wasn't the deepest connection to myself, it was all I had known up until that point of my life. And so in order to fully heal, I had to do things to really find myself again, to really drop into my body. And then I witnessed, oh, this is actually the first time in my life I've ever been embodied, that I've ever moved slow enough, was still enough, was quiet enough that I could connect to her in a way that I just had never known was possible. And for me, you know, there's many different modalities. In the very beginning, it just looked like, you know, my yoga practice, my breath work practice, being in nature more, really taking time to be still, to journal, to meditate, to pull cards, to just be with myself. I had never given myself permission to do that because I felt like in order to have, I must do. And it feels like such an old version of me now. I know it's only been for me, you know, this particular healing journey, right? We all have multiple healing journeys on our path, but this one's been about 4 years. And those things are the things that have connected me back to my body and back to this practice of, as you said, really knowing and hearing and trusting myself for the first time in my life.
You've touched on like literally so many freaking amazing things that I want to like just unpack a little bit because it's super yummy. I feel like this is great for any woman that is stepping into herself in a way that she's ready to expand from where she is. Like it's not about a race or a level. It's more about, you know, where you are now in this moment, and it's coming in. It's not deflecting or disassociating from what you feel. And I remember for myself, like always saying, I don't know if you had this as well, but I don't know how I feel. I kept saying, I don't know how I feel. I was so turned on to the outside world and moving from thing to thing. When my kids were little, it was like, that's what kept me charged. It was like drama and the this and the this, and there was a busyness and a busyness. There was no room for Jeannie. There was no room for a discovery process. And when we start to experience, whether it is, like you said, going in nature or being in yoga, it might feel hard. It might feel really like I can't be quiet.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I do not want to get me off of this mat. Like,
yeah.
And I think that
who are these fucking quiet people around me, right?
I know what's wrong with them. It's true. I mean, it's when I say it now, it feels simple and easy because it's a daily practice for me.
But it's not, right?
It is not.
Let's be clear that its spiritual practice is dedicated and it's not as easy as it looks. Like everybody's making it look fluffy and easy and all you need to do is meditate and
I know.
And it's like, no. That's literally, you know, how many people
That's why in the beginning I had to just start so simple.
Yes.
Because I was like that. I was like, if I'm not doing something, if I'm not moving my body, I'm not fulfilling something. I'm not living into my purpose. Like all of these really big sayings
like
that
it's
are
a race.
out there.
If I don't get there,
absolutely,
what's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. So I had to start small. And the first thing I noticed was, oh, wow, I am really disconnected to my breath. And like that little tidbit alone, because our breath, it's something we don't have to think about, right? Like it exists. It's a free resource. Like for most of the time, like you're not even thinking and it's happening. So that was the first thing that I tapped into was like, oh, as soon as I connect to my breath, I immediately connect back to my body and back to myself. And to point out what you were saying about feeling like I never know what to do, or, you know, this sort of state of confusion, I still go there. Right. Yeah. But now when I do, it's almost immediate. I feel it. I'm like, oh, I'm in my head, which means I'm not connected to my breath, which means I am completely disconnected to my body. And I just do something immediately to tap back in, whether that's, you know, I'm just like patting my arm, right?
Literally, my husband's like, what are you doing? Tapping your legs. Oh, I'm just getting back in.
Going home, baby.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's so easy for empaths and sensitive souls, people that are able to move with energy, to be in the energy in the outside world, because it's your gift, your ability to work with others and commune with their energy so you can help guide them. Yes. I mean, that's part of the process, but you lose the sense of you. And if you don't come in, what happens is a complete depletion and a forgetting of your own soul growth. And so you end up giving from your own reserve. You give to a place of depletion, and your body can't hold the energy for your soul's growth. It can't expand, and your cells don't renew and heal in the same way that they normally can when you come in and you start to be at peace. Like peace isn't something you go for on the outside, it's something that you are because peace was given to you, and it's a remembrance, and you can get there with your breath.
That was so beautifully said. And when you were saying it, I thought to myself, that's how I am at the end of every retreat. I'm just
your retreats look heavenly. Like you guys have to follow Lauryn, because her just the vision of your retreats and the women that are showing up, like it brings me such joy just to witness all of the healing and the experiences they're having.
I love that so much.
Pictures speak volumes for me, like energy wise. It's like,
Yes. I totally agree. And that community, it's called Retreat to Reclaim. It's a community I created with a
Retreat to Reclaim.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
My gosh. Of course.
So that is a community that I created with a friend of mine, because she was really the first person to sort of hold me up in a way during my loss, where she really deeply understood it, because she had lost both of her parents within like a similar time frame. And so that whole community, we've helped hundreds of women at this point heal. We've taken them all over the United States and internationally. And it was really birthed out of grief, and being able to
And look what you
show.
just said. It was birthed out of grief.
Yeah, totally. I sort of live in that place now though. Like
My whole body is like involved in this.
I know, right? I will say though, I've gotten to that place where I feel like everything does, and we know everything does, but I'm just so aware of it now that
Right.
in every single situation, there is grief and joy, and they always coexist. I do not
They
care
have to coexist,
what it
right?
is. Yes.
So,
yes. Otherwise, we will
right?
be just completely out of our bodies.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
life, if we know, if we really understand that the lies that have been told to us that the physical is forever, like you got to get as much stuff and as much money and you got to, have these trips and these experiences. And if you think that, if we believe in that, what we miss is this nuance of holiness that we will experience in our relationships and the ebb and flow of loss. The ebb and flow of loss is a gain. We gain perspective. We gain an understanding. We gain more communication with heaven. We lean further into the arms of the beloved rather than trusting the physical as being the reality.
Yeah. And even when you say that, I realize that even moving through that, the physical part, I wasn't able to set that aside until probably a year ago. Like, I feel like I always knew that my grief journey was a spiritual journey, but it was like about a year ago where I was like, all right, like my soul needs to go deeper. Like I need to do some even deeper work than this beyond the physical. And that was when I really started to step into more of these modalities, these things, going on retreats with women who are doing really sacred work and, mediumship as you have, like things where I could really connect beyond what I could see. And I feel like that tapping in has opened up just like so much
I have the
for
chills.
me.
I have like literally like,
Yeah.
oh, she's remembering.
Yeah, that's it. That's a great word for it. Remembrance.
Yeah. I love when I meet someone who has had these really big life experiences but are holding their light. They're standing in their light in a way, even though they have this grief, even though it's there, it's not defining them. It's fueling them to uncover more of the yumminess, and you can hold both the light and the grief. You can the grief and the light together become a magic, a power, a tool for expansion. And as you're seeing with your retreats, as you're seeing with the women that are coming in that have experienced loss, they're remembering they get to be holy. And like I get this, like I want to say brave, but I also feel like that's a word that might feel a little funky to women. Like, there's nothing brave about what I'm doing after losing my child, but there really is. They're showing me, like the angels are showing me, like it really is brave when you stand in your light. It really is. That's God light coming through, and it takes an awareness, an agreement to work with that energy. I always say all healing is an agreement, right? And it's an agreement to be in the frequency of love.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that reminds me, there's a picture on my wall I purchased right after losing Ben. I read it every single day, and it's by Harper Lee, and it says, she was brave, not because she wasn't scared, but because she went on so strongly despite the fear.
Right there.
And that is the truth of it, because the fear portion, like I resisted doing this work. I resisted having these conversations. I resisted standing in the shoes of like a grief advocate because I didn't want it to define me. I felt like I was so much bigger than this story. But the more that I step in, I realize like, oh, but it's not my story. Like it's Ben's story. And he had a very short-lived, coming into this world, like, yeah, it was a short-lived time period, but I felt like it was exactly his purpose, was to give me this gift and to remind me that other women especially really need it, because, you know, we have to go on so bravely and so strongly despite the fear. And actually it's I'm going to cry because I share that knowing right now I am 24 weeks pregnant with my fourth, and I wouldn't be here. You know, I wouldn't be here without Ben. And I feel like I also wouldn't be here without just going on so bravely and so strongly, because I'm fearful every single day, you know, especially in this physical body and this experience. There is not a day that goes by that I don't feel like something might go wrong, or, you know, is this baby moving, right? Like, it's the biggest testament of I have to keep moving despite my fear. And God, I'm just really learning a lot right now in this process.
I feel like, you know, you may have heard this before, but it's something that will come through for women that lose a child, especially the way that you did before they have a life, right? Because they're in utero, they haven't been born alive. And the message that God has bestowed is that the soul comes to feel unconditional love. Because pregnancy, you know, coming into the utero place is full of that mother love. And that's the journey of that soul, is to be loved by one soul, like to have that encompassing. And you were that love for Ben. You were that love. He didn't have to have the experience on the outside because he came for that. You are the love.
I was like, hold on, I'll be back.
Yeah.
No, I have on my hand on my heart as I hear that, because you're right, you know, and he's still with me all the time. I mean, you can attest to that right now, I'm sure, but he's just always with me. He's always telling me what to do, and
playful.
Super playful. Yeah.
Do you remember anything from the first reading that we did?
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna say.
Okay, good. Tell me. Remind me. Spark it for me.
You said so many amazing things. I was just blown away, because actually, you know, I have to say, Jeannie, your reading was so different than any other reading I've ever received. It was just so specific to who I am and where I was going, and we had just met like you know, a few moments before. But this was really interesting. You had asked me, you said, well, two things. You said, your energy, your light is so far up, like I can't even touch it. I know no one can see me, but I have my hand like way high up in the air. So that was very interesting to start. But later you said to me, you said, do you have 3 girls? And I said, no, I have 2 girls. And you were like, I feel like there's another one coming, and there's a girl on the way. And what's interesting about this is that I had really felt like, until this point, that I had surrendered that part of me that was at all still holding on to this idea and this untruth that losing Ben was my fault, that it was my body's wrongdoing. You know, I'd held a lot of guilt and shame for a really long time, and knew that I would try again. But we started trying at the top of the year, and you and I met one another in September.
Yeah.
And I thought I had surrendered, and I didn't, because I still wasn't getting pregnant. And there was just this mixture of circumstances that happened between you saying that, between what I finally surrendered at that retreat that we were together at with Sarah Jenks, and leading a retreat of my own. I got pregnant that very month. And the interesting part is, I don't know when this is going to air, so I don't know if I should share this part or not, but whether or not I have a girl or a boy on the way, there was another gal, a friend of mine in the room, that had a baby girl in her belly. And we didn't find that out until like days after the retreat. So it was just so interesting, just the way those things happen. Like you knew a girl was on the way in the room. And I was ready for this baby to come. And I do want to share this too. When I got home from that, I had said to my husband, Jeannie told me like another girl is on the way. And I think we're really blocking our spirit baby. I think that whether or not we mean to, we really want this to be a boy, and she's not coming because maybe she's not meant to be. And so we did this whole ceremony in my bedroom, and we were like, listen, spirit baby, if you're a girl, it's absolutely okay. Like, we will love you no matter what, like, please come. And so I ended up, yes.
I have literally, like, my whole body is in chills and I want to cry because I'm so moved by this, and I'm moved by how healing. And you know, I think as a healer and a medium, and I'm sure you know this too, you really don't see the impact of what you channel unless you get to do something like this. And like, I don't carry and remember and hold those tones in me. And that's why I asked you to, you know, what came through for you.
Totally.
But this, when you receive profound messages, you all of a sudden open up in a way you didn't realize, maybe that healing that needed to happen, you and your husband during that ceremony, that blessing that increased your energy, it healed something that, like you said, that block. And we're unaware of our blocks, and we might try to force our blocks to just be done, but there's no forcing. You can't fake a healing. You have to feel it through.
Yes. And it's such a good reminder that even when we feel like we have, there's more to surrender.
There's more.
There's always more. And I think this is especially important because I have a lot of clients who are like, yeah, limiting belief work, stories, like,
oh, I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, there's more.
Yeah.
Let's keep digging.
Yeah.
Because
we're not done as long as we're here on earth. As long as we're, you know, earthbound, trust me, we're going to continue to experience all the way until the very last breath. And I think we could look at like Louise Hay as a really beautiful example, a woman who came in to this world, had so much trauma and so many experiences, started doing healing work later in life, started Hay House in her 80s, like, or 60s, whatever. It was like ridiculous. It was, you know, what people would nowadays are like, no, but yes. And like the woman I just told you about, Gladys, who's 102 and just wrote another book. I mean, there are so many possibilities, and it is not ending. If you think this is it, let me say no. Just keep going, and work with great people. Get into those programs. Say yes, God, yes, to where He leads you, because we're not meant to do this alone.
100%.
We can't see around our own corners. We have blinders on, and you know, God, there was a whole reason why He sent disciples out, and modern day priestess are the way of like uncovering and delivering and sharing so much love.
Yeah. And you don't know when that next mentor or guide or, you know, whoever is about to lead you, you just don't know on the path. Like, you just like, be just ready for surprises, ready for miracles, ready for openings that, you know, you signed up for, your soul signed up for, but in the physical, you weren't aware that they were on their way.
They want me to ask you about how did you trust the signs to work with, you know, healers and programs and go into spaces, like, because I feel that's an important part where a lot of women are maybe looking to understand, like, well, how do I know if this is the right move for me?
Well, I think that with each move, every yes for not the person, the yes that you give to yourself, it gets easier. And I try to remind all of my coaching clients this, all of my retreat guests, like, you didn't say yes to me. You said yes to you. You gave yourself permission to tap into your intuition, to maybe feel and hear your body for the very first time. And the more you do that, it gets easier. And like, now I'm kind of at the point where I don't necessarily question whether or not to work with somebody or go to a retreat. I know I have to do those things for me to stay on this spiritual path. And I tap into my intuition more and more. And I think that if you're listening and you're like, but I can't hear my intuition, because it can be hard for some of us. Some of us, just in particular, our human design, that's not how we make decisions. I happen to be a projector, and that is how I make my decisions. But even if you're like having a hard time with that, you can try doing that in different ways. You can literally be like, I'm going to trust my intuition about what to order for dinner tonight. And then I'm going to trust my intuition about how to style my hair tomorrow. And I think the more that we do that, the easier it becomes, the more routine it becomes, that we don't really question it anymore. We can feel it that, oh, this is right.
Yes.
And when it's not right, because sometimes things derail us, people end up, turning out to be there to teach us something else, even though we came for something, in particular, that we're just okay with it, that we don't become hard on ourselves or guilt or shame ourselves around it. It's like, I know every single time I do something where I choose myself, I'm going to learn something, and it's something I needed in order to take the next step.
Yes. And when we're safe with ourselves, when we're safe inward, the outside world becomes easier. So being safe with you for like, I'm safe with me and clients come. I'm safe with me and money comes in. I'm safe with me and the healing presents itself. Like if you aren't, trudging and pining and trying, those are opposing energies and forcing, like you can't force an outcome.
Yes. So totally. And I think it's important to remind my fellow sisters out there, like we sometimes, in order to trust our intuition, we have to use our throat chakra and we have to tell somebody else as quickly as possible.
Yes.
So
yes.
I will feel like, okay, this is an intuitive hit, and I will go to my best friend and I'll tell her. And then a few days later, my mind will do what it does best, and it will try to keep me safe and tell me not to do that thing. And I'll share it with her, and she'll be like, yeah, but do you remember intuitively, you already said yes to this. You already knew, like, stop talking yourself out of it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks for that reminder. Like, we need support systems in place like that can really bring us back home again.
I love that we circled right back to the beginning, which is like that support system of, no matter what, having that support, whether it's business or personal life, is super important. And just the way you love yourself, it's the way you can show up.
It's everything. I think that one of my greatest learnings have been, it's okay, Lauren, to be even more supported. Like every step of the way, I have to remind myself
it's okay, Lauren.
It's okay.
Love that. It's okay, Jeannie. I love that.
Little Lauren, little Jeannie, they like just need to remember that. Like, it's okay to be supported.
Can you tell everyone how they can come hang out with you and where to find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me. I mostly hang out on Instagram at IM_Lauren, and Lauren is spelled with a Y instead of an E. And then my main hub is LaurynLaszczak.com. It looks a lot harder than it sounds, so I'm sure you'll have that in the show notes.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. And then in particular, if you want to check out my retreats, you can go to retreattoreclaim.com.
Nice. All right. So I'm going to ask you one final question. Would you share one fun fact that nobody might know about you?
I sort of gave it away that there's a baby in my belly,
yeah,
but I did just share that news publicly. So that took me a while to get there. So I guess people know that about me already. Okay, let me tap in here. One fun fact: that I am attempting to become a gardener.
Ooh, I love it.
I know. I was like, I need something in my life, specifically something that I can do with my hands that has nothing to do with my work in the world. And so I bought a really beautiful book, and I am like planning my backyard right now.
Oh, I love it. I feel like that's so good and so creative for you, because you do have like an interior design. You have a design kind of energy around you.
Yeah. Oh, I love hearing you say that, because
you have like a design. You do that with people's lives and in your readings too. You're like really deep into that. So I love that. Yeah. Very like expansive.
Yeah. Aesthetics are like, there's something about it that like makes me feel really good when a room feels good, or a yard. Like, I'm the gal that goes into a restaurant and they're like, can you sit here? And I'm like, actually, can I sit over there? Because I know what I'll feel if I sit over there, and I want my experience to feel good all the time. So,
Dang, girl is so in her body. I love it.
Yeah, it's been some work, but we're getting there.
Well, thank you for coming and hanging out. I really appreciate you and your story, and thank you for being so open.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for your work in the world. I'm glad I got to share that story with you because you have literally changed my life. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you. Mwah. Well, my friend, I told you that was going to be an incredible episode because Lauryn is just showing up in this world, doing her work, leaning in through her own grief journey to be expansive and also to help other women grow and evolve their businesses and really just stand in the presence that loss does not define who we are. And just like her son Ben is showing up in her world, helping her to create a beautiful card deck and lean in with her clients and be with her daughters, she knows that life is not ending with the passing of a loved one. So I hope this reminds you that you too can connect with your departed loved ones, either in your dreams or tapping in or by coming to one of my Heaven Now events. Don't go it alone. Don't go life without having that support and that system set in place that can really help you to evolve and stand confidently in your purpose here in life. I hope today's session really expanded you and supports you in a beautiful way. May God bless you and keep you, and may you remember that you are unconditionally loved. Have a beautiful day.